On March 15, 1939, Prague lay silent beneath a veil of frost. Captain Jan Veselý stood on Charles Bridge, his gloved hand gripping the cold stone, watching the fog roll up from the Vltava River. It was dawn, and all of Bohemia seemed to hold its breath. Distant engines growled, a mechanical thunder crawling closer from the north. He could hardly believe that his nation, proud Czechoslovakia, was already broken. Munich had carved its spine. The Germans were coming to claim the rest. Somewhere behind him, church bells tolled softly, echoing like a requiem. "So this is how a country dies," he whispered to himself. The people gathered quietly, faces pale and eyes full of disbelief, as boots would soon echo across Prague's cobbles, each step stamping out another fragment of hope. The growl became a roar as columns of Wehrmacht trucks and tanks rolled down Naprekop Street. Their engines coughed black smoke into the gray sky. Jan watched from a narrow alley, heart pounding. Civilians stood rigid, mothers tightening their grip on their children. The Iron Cross gleamed against the dull khaki uniforms of a new master. An officer barked orders in clipped German. Soldiers posted red and white banners with the black swastika fluttering like a shadow over the city. Jan's friend, Lieutenant Karel, joined him with eyes full of disbelief. "We were disarmed. There's nothing left to fight with." Jan clenched his jaw. "We had honor once." Around them, Prague was no longer a free capital, but a conquered jewel, its proud facades turned to mute witnesses of humiliation.
By midday, the occupation seemed complete. German soldiers marched across Wenceslas Square, their boots beating relentless rhythm into the cobblestones. Jan felt a strange calm as he observed from the steps of the National Museum. He could see elderly veterans from the Great War staring blankly at the invading columns, lips trembling at the sight of surrendered ground. Snow began to fall lightly, settling on helmets and rifles, softening the spectacle into something almost surreal. A young German corporal caught Jan's gaze, a boy no older than 20, his face uncertain beneath the iron discipline. Jan turned away. "He's just a tool," he thought bitterly, "but every tool serves a hand." Above, the statue of St. Wenceslas seemed to watch helplessly as the spirit of Prague dimmed beneath foreign banners.
That night, in a small cafe near Old Town, whispers filled the smoky air. Jan met with former comrades, men who once wore proudly the lion crest of Czechoslovakia. "They promised peace in Munich," said Karel bitterly. "Peace for them, not for us. France and Britain had turned their faces away, leaving Czech soldiers stripped of weapons and honor." Outside, the icy streets reflected yellow light from lanterns, the city's beauty now haunted by Nazi banners. Jan raised his glass slowly, the tremor in his hand betraying rage. "We are soldiers without a country," he said. The others nodded, silence heavy like resignation. Yet somewhere beneath the din of conquered sorrow, the first spark of defiance glowed faintly in their hearts.
Days passed under the shadow of the Reich. German requisition trucks rolled through narrow streets, confiscating radios, files, and flags. Jan moved cautiously among the crowds, trying to hold on to fragments of his old life. In secret, he met with a small network of officers planning how to preserve military intelligence for the future. They copied documents, hid maps, smuggled plans across borders into Poland. The lion on the Czech coat of arms, he thought, was asleep, but not dead. "One day," he whispered to Karel, "we will wake him." The air smelled of coal smoke and desperation, but also quiet defiance. History, Jan sensed, was not finished with them. The storm to come would need every ember still burning in Prague's heart.
The Gestapo headquarters occupied a grand building near Petrin Hill. Jan walked past it often, feeling the invisible stare of its windows. Rumors spread about midnight arrests, neighbors who vanished after whispers of dissent. German patrols moved methodically, searching homes, seizing typewriters, even Czech flags. One evening, Jan returned to find his apartment door open. Papers scattered, photographs overturned. The invaders had searched every corner. He sat on his bed quietly, listening to the city outside, a chorus of distant radios tuned to German marching tunes. Despite the fear tightening around him, Jan refused exile. "If I leave, Prague loses another son," he murmured. The city, though subdued, carried a silent tension, like a heart that still dared to beat beneath iron chains.
In the vast hush of St. Vitus Cathedral, Jan met a contact from the underground. The stained glass glowed faintly under moonlight. "We're gathering couriers," the man said softly. "To London, to Paris, wherever truth still lives." Outside, soldiers patrolled the castle courtyard, boots echoing on the stones that once crowned Czech kings. As Jan accepted a sealed envelope, names, locations, codes, he felt the weight of treason and duty intertwining. "For Czechoslovakia," he whispered. The cathedral bells began to toll, their voices mournful yet resolute, rising above the frozen silence of occupation. That night, the city seemed to breathe again, if only for a moment.
Spring came slowly, but freedom did not. German signs replaced Czech street names. Radios broadcast orders in harsh syllables. Jan's world had become a theater of silence, where fear was spoken only in glances. Karl was arrested in May. No one dared to ask why. Jan burned their last notes in a tin stove, watching the paper curl into ash. Every shadow seemed to hide informers, every knock at the door a signal of doom. And yet beneath the fear, an unbroken pride stirred quietly. On the Vltava embankment, Jan looked toward the distant hills of Czechy, whispering, "You can occupy the ground, but never the soul." His words vanished into the wind, but Prague heard them.
Jan began keeping his thoughts in coded journals hidden beneath floorboards. He wrote not for himself, but for the Czechs who might one day reclaim their voice. "If these words survive," he wrote, "let them remember that we did not all bow." Beyond the city, Europe was unraveling. Poland threatened, alliances faltering. The occupation of Prague had been the prelude to catastrophe, and Jan knew it. One evening he sealed a letter to London, smuggled through a courier on a bicycle. In it, he begged for the world not to forget Czechoslovakia. The candle flickered as he folded the paper, shadows crossing his face. Outside, the bells tolled 7 times, the measured heartbeat of a city enduring the unendurable. By the end of March 1939, Prague had fallen completely under German control. The Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia was declared a puppet state under the swastika. Jan stood again on Charles Bridge, the same place he had watched the invaders arrive. Snow melted along the riverbanks, and the statues of saints seemed to bow their heads. Behind him, the flags of a free republic were gone, replaced by banners of conquest. Yet somehow, in the heavy silence, Jan felt hope, fragile but alive. He touched the stone parapet and whispered, "We will return." The wind carried his words into the distance, mingling with the murmur of a city that refused to forget.